So I've seen many of the presentations. There is a slide saying who is the speaker. So this is my slide to say who I am. This is my name, Boriss Mejias. I'm a carbon-based ape descendant. I work as an engineer in Xenit solutions. I have a background in heavy metal headbanging and also as a researcher. And as a researcher, I'm used to realize that I'm wrong in what I'm doing. So I'm not afraid to be wrong. So if anything that I'm presenting here, you slightly disagree or you strongly disagree, this is the moment so we can have a discussion. So ask all the questions that you want to ask. I'm not going to be touchy if you say, no, that's completely wrong. I said we are used to it in research environment. Okay, so first of all, I would like to thank the organizers that gave us the possibility to follow a speaker training, which was a very good training. And in that training, the guy says that the brain is odd, and you're probably not going to remember anything from this presentation. So I brought my business card. So if you want a business card to ask me questions afterwards, you can get one. Nobody. Okay, it's good. It's fine. I knew that nobody was going to get the business cards. So because the brain is odd, and the guy said, if you really want to remember, bring a gorilla. So I brought my gorilla. And the guy says, it's even better if you bring a pink gorilla. Unfortunately, none of my colleagues volunteered to be dressed like a pink gorilla. He was going to jump here out and say, oh, the gorilla, and say, oh, yeah, you saw the presentation of the gorilla? Yes, yes, he was talking about location awareness or something like that. So this is just for you to remember this presentation, not because of the business cards, but because of Belgian chocolates. I'm going to offer you now Belgian chocolates. This is not just marketing, not cheap marketing. This is really connected to the presentation. It's a fundamental part of the presentation. So now I give you a second opportunity. If you want a chocolate, raise your hand. Oh, that's good. I didn't have that much chocolate. So, one for you. There you go. Who else wanted a chocolate? Okay, here one. I'll come to you, I'll come to you. Have one here, Albert. Yeah, there you go, thanks. So, you see I'm coming back from the room now because Albert, the sound engineer, he asked me for a chocolate too, and it's taken a lot more time. Ronnie here, he got it immediately. So this is what the problem is about distributing content. So the users that are closer to the guy who is distributing the content or the server who is distributing the content is going to get it much faster than Albert, which is at the end of the room, just checking this out. So in terms of Alfresco, it's exactly the same. We have very fast networks now, but if you compare, I'm now using, luckily, the wire, but if you were using the wireless, you will get this feeling that it's not as fast as it should be. If you would have been closer to the server, you would have get it much faster, especially if you are in intranet. So this is the problem, to distribute content, and the farther you are from the server, the slower you get your stuff. So, but it's not just the speed of the download of the distribution, it's also the bandwidth consumption. So if you have, I'm going to show you more examples. You have to pay for your bandwidth consumption. If you get things out of your internet, you have to pay for that. But it's also load balancing. So while I was distributing the chocolate, I was not really able to carry on with my presentation, talking to you, because I was busy giving chocolates away. So this load balancing is not in terms of doing load balancing like in a cluster, but it's just getting some load from the server of this streaming the content to somebody else. But I will explain this more in detail later. So who faces the problem? Very large organizations. So this is an organization who has offices all around the world, where the main Alfresco server is sitting there in Patagonia, and the main offices are in some island in Martinique, enjoying themselves, while the rest is working all around the world. So the guys who are working here in Chile and Argentina, they get the content much faster, of course, than those guys sitting in Japan. So also very spread organizations. So you have, this is a smaller organization where the main house is near to the Alfresco server, and you have a bunch of programmers here, some other programmers over there in Greenland, which in this screen is green. That was marketing. You know that Greenland was named Greenland because the guy wanted to get people there, and he didn't tell that it was full of snow. That was Eric the Red. Okay, so who also faces the problem? Organization who has an internet. This is not a firewall. This is just separating the building of the walls of the building. An intranet, and people working from home. So every time they have to put the same content away, they have to send it more than one time. They have to pay to send that stuff outside of the intranet. So it's an issue. Or organizations like one that we have in Belgium, we work together with them. They have one big building in one city and one or two in another city, and they have two intranets. And Alfresco is in one of the intranets, and all these users that are here have to get the content every time from here. So they have to pay every time that they have this bandwidth here. Of course, it's a large organization, they can get a good deal about it, but they have to pay for it. So this is about location awareness. You still want some chocolate? Who didn't get chocolate and wanted a chocolate? So I still have some people. That's good, because I just didn't bring my pink gorilla. I also bring some monkeys with me. So please stand up, the monkeys. Raise your hand. So So those monkeys that are there, they have chocolate. So they can give you chocolate now. But I will give that chocolate to you. So distribution of content.
Thank you.
Yeah, who else wants a chocolate here? Here, one. I have already one. Oliver. So you see, now I just have to go to this part of the room. I didn't have to go all the way there because I have my monkey chocolate proxy alpha and monkey chocolate proxy beta. And they are distributing the content for me. So it's also load balancing, because while I'm giving my talk, they are doing distribution of content. So this is what it is about, location awareness. So I put them in a really specific place, studying the situation in advance. So now I have a green gorilla, not because I don't like pink. I actually have some pink stuff for me. But it just matters much better the rest of the template that we got from the organizers. So now it's going to be a green gorilla. Okay? Nobody wants business cards? Yeah, so this is also important, because I knew, well, I didn't know, but I was expecting that nobody was going to get interest in this business card. If you ask my monkeys, they don't have any business card with them. I just put the content that I thought I was going to be interested for the other location over there. So let's come back to this new distribution of chocolate. What is the benefit of location awareness? It's benefit for the attendees, so you guys who were in the back got your chocolate faster now. And for me, because I didn't have to go all the way there, and I could carry on with my presentation while the distribution of content was there. Of course, in terms of Alfresco, it's a benefit for the users, because the users will get their content faster, and also for the main server, because the main server will be able to carry on with other tasks while the distribution is being done by the proxies. Okay? So I have nothing against monkeys. In fact, when I presented myself, I said that I was a carbon-based ape descendant. So usually we are proud of our parents and our grandfathers and our really ancestors, and those are the apes and gorillas, not exactly those that we know. So it's not an offense to my colleagues. You know. Okay, so instead of chocolate proxy, let's talk about content proxy. You have your Alfresco, you have your two content proxies. You have the guy who is sitting next to the content server, so the main server, he gets the content directly from the Alfresco. You have somebody sitting far away, he will ask Alfresco for the content, and Alfresco will tell you, go to your next proxy, and the proxy is going to give him the content. So this redirect is just like this, go there. And then this is going to take a little bit more time. But the main server can carry on with this work. So how we did a proof of concept with an HTTP redirect. We did it maybe not the best way, but this was a good way of testing it directly with the download content servlet. This is a part that works in Alfresco already, not being used by Share at the moment, but it was used by the Alfresco Explorer. And what it does is, first it parses the request, so it needs to know which is the content that you want to get. Then it's going to check the authentication and authority, whether you are a user of Alfresco, and if you're a user, whether you can get authority to read this content. And once that it knows that, it's going to get the content from the content store service, and then it's going to stream it to the client back. So it's going to say, here is your content. Now, this is the part that we change. So we still do all this parsing of requests and checking the authority, so that part of security is okay. But instead of getting the content, we are just going to get the content URL, so the location of the content, and we are going to redirect to the content proxy and pass this content URL. And the content proxy is going to do the rest. So, because I'm always redirecting, I'm going to explain this a little bit again. This guy will ask Alfresco, will get a redirect, it will get it to the proxy, and the proxy will give the content. And the speaker trainer also told us to repeat things many times so you really understand. So, and the guy who is next to the server is not really getting directly from Alfresco, but he's going to also get a HTTP redirect, but on a proxy which is next to the Alfresco server, so it's actually the same. So he will also get it directly from the same location. But everybody gets an HTTP redirect. So all animals are equal. Some are more equals than the other, but they all get the HTTP redirect. So in fact, this example of the gorilla and the two monkeys is actually a gorilla with a monkey together and two other monkeys. Okay? So you see, this one has the business cards, but these other two don't have it. So it's also important, what are you going to synchronize? You could synchronize everything, but it's also going to be more work. But now what happens if you get a new item? I have this chocolate here, which is darker. It's 72% cacao. It's beautiful. It's mine, my precious. And I want to share it with you. But again, I'm going to have this problem because this monkey over there, they don't have it. So this is a synchronization problem. What if you have a new item on your store? So let's talk about synchronization with the proxies. You can do eager synchronization. So every time I get a chocolate, I'm going to distribute to my monkeys so they can get it immediately. And you can do this with rsync. It's one way of doing it. You can do it in many ways. So this is the part where you say, rsync is not for that. So you can disagree and then tell me, no, I think you could do it with rdiff, for instance, or there are some other tools. You can do it better. So you will have your content store here, which is what Alfresco is talking directly to. And it's going to rsync to another disk here. And here you have the two proxies. So when the guy here, which is next to Alfresco, is going to ask for the content, it's going to be redirected to the proxy. The proxy will talk to the server here, the content store. It's going to get it here back, and it's going to send it to the user. And at the other side, this guy is going to do exactly the same, but because everything is already synchronized, it's eagerly synchronized, the content is immediately retrieved from here. It's a really strong condition that everything is already here. Of course, with rsync, you don't have to, by the way, sync the whole content store all the time. Luckily, Alfresco stores things like by year, and then by month, and then by day, and then by minute. So you could just synchronize the last hour constantly, like the same time as Solar, for instance. So if you search something by Solar, every 15 seconds you will get a synchronization by default. So you could synchronize every 15 seconds as well, because if the guy doesn't find it, it's not going to ask for it. Okay? So it's not that bad solution to just eagerly go with rsync. But there's something more South American style, a relaxed approach. So you will do lazy synchronization. So lazy is not bad. It is bad if you don't do anything. But if you do it right, you don't do it until somebody asks you to do it. That's lazy synchronization. Okay? So the relaxed approach is, we know that it's hard to get everything here synchronized all the time. So we are going to relax this condition, and it's going to be mostly synchronized, like they have the first chocolate that we distributed, but they still don't have this one. And then they're going to synchronize when somebody asks for this really good chocolate. Yeah? And so what's going to happen? Somebody's going to ask, hey, give me that chocolate. I say, oof, I don't have it. So if he doesn't have it, he's going to ask not Alfresco, but the other proxy, because Alfresco needs to be busy with some more interesting stuff, not just doing download things. And the other content, content proxy is going to get it from the content store, and it's going to send it back. When the proxy gets it back, it's going to do two things. One is to send it to the client, so he will not notice that the thing was not here. And the other one is to store it here. So the next time that somebody asks for the same item, it's going to be here already. So this is lazy synchronization. So there are some presentations where things are really difficult, and you say, wow, that guy is doing really hard stuff. I didn't get anything of it. And some other presentation, they say, oh, that was easy. It could be that you would think, oh, that was obvious. But it also means that this is a problem that we are all understanding, and we can all discuss about it. And I hope that you really get it as a simple thing. Actually, well, I think it's a nice idea. Now, you can also combine eager and lazy synchronization. So you just synchronize the things that you think are going to be most popular, and the other things that you, maybe if somebody asks business cards, then you synchronize them lazily. But the chocolates, you synchronize them eagerly, as I did before the presentation. So I didn't just bring my Gorilla, I also bring my CASTO with me. And Thijs is going to talk to you about CASTO, which starts with CAS, Content Addressable Store. So, Thijs, Alberto, ¿me das el micrófono acá? Gracias.
Hello, I'm Thijs, working at Xenit almost as long as Boriss now.
Yep.
And I'm mostly working at an insurance company. And we use a nice product there. It's called CASTO. CASTO is a product from Caringo. And it does content addressable storage. Now, what does that mean? It means that you can put the content into the CASTO cluster and you get back a key. And later on, you can use that key to fetch the content again. It's actually much like S3 from Amazon. And much like the S3 connector from Alfresco to S3, we have implemented half to CAS, only ours was first. So how does CASTO work? Well, in CASTO you have the notion of nodes, which are actually just servers with disks. And CASTO stores replicas across nodes, so when there is a failure, we don't lose the content. So in this example, you can see there are 3 replicas for every file. The dots are the files. And in that way, you can actually fetch your content from one of the nodes. So if you ask one of the nodes for a piece of content it doesn't have, you will get a redirect to another node. Well, what happens when there is a failure, and there will be? In node 2 you can see there is a failure, and now there is still a replica in the other nodes, and AlphaCast can handle the failure and ask the content again to another node. Now, there aren't anymore 3 replicas for all the files, so CASTO will recover that and will replicate the content to other nodes just to remain fully compliant. Well, and there will be failure. CASTO has a nice web interface. You can see disk failures on the web interface or node failures. Node failures are pretty rare, but disk failures happen often, or a few times a year. And then you can just order another disk. You don't have to be in a hurry. We sometimes order a disk and it arrives next week, and then we can put a new disk in the server and restart. Users actually never noticed any content unavailability. So what about scalability? You can add nodes to CASTO, and it will be automatically in the cluster, and CASTO will start replicating on that node too. And AlphaCast has a mechanism to add that server to the list of nodes because of the redirect the other servers will use. Because if node 1 is too busy and you ask another piece of content to node 1, it could redirect to the last node. Of the CASTO will recognize that and add that to the list of servers. That's about it for me for now. I'm going to give back the word to Boriss.
Yeah. So why was Thijs explaining about Castor? Because we want to see this problem of having your chocolate proxy and a new item on your store. So how will we solve it with Castor? You can have another replication of your cluster in the different location, and you can have content routers provided by Castor. Now the very, very new version of Castor released last month, you can have also communication between the nodes themselves. But something extra from the content routers is that here you can apply some rules to say, I want some part of my content to be replicated and not everything. Okay? So you have a publisher here that is going to monitor the nodes, and every time there is a new item, a new chocolate, dark one, 72% cacao, it's going to send it here to the replicator, and the replicator is going to send it to the corresponding nodes here on the other cluster. So whenever you have set your content proxy, you are going to get it. Now, coming back to this situation that we explained you from a company that we are working that has different locations, they already have this thing. They already have a Castor here in one city, which is very near to a good brewery. That's why they put it there, so they can get their beer much faster. So this is all about content distribution and location awareness. And the other one is sitting here where you have the best lambic in the world, actually the only lambic in the world. And everything is replicated. However, when a user here needs to ask for the content, it always gets it from this store. Why? Because Alfresco is sitting here, and Alfresco only knows about this one. Whereas everything is already replicated here. So this is one of the cases where we are going to extend our proof of concept and probably make it real in that situation. So then everything will be replicated only once and not every time that is requested. So how would it work? You will put your content proxies in front of your Castor. They will have to understand how to talk to Castor. So when you get your content, you are redirected to your content proxy. The content proxy will talk to Castor, and it will get the content for you. When you ask your content proxy, it will talk to the local Castor here, and will get the content for you. This is going to be doing the eager synchronization, but if you don't have the document here, this one can do the lazy synchronization to be a little bit faster than these two guys here. And when the content again comes here and the nodes get it as a new item, they will say, we have it already because we got it from the proxy. So this system works pretty well. So this is a possible combination for doing eager and lazy synchronization. Synchronization. I think in Australia they say synchronization. So Thijs is going to talk to you about not a paranormal scheme or a supernatural scheme. This is just a supernormal scheme. So Thijs.
Well, there's another situation that could work where you have an Alfresco in one place, let's say in Barcelona with Alf to CAS and a content proxy. And we have a user in Boston. And Boston also has a content proxy, but this time we're not replicating to another Castor cluster, but it has a local disk to do the lazy synchronization actually. So if a user asks a document Alfresco, it will refer to the proxy in Boston for the Boston user. Yeah. It's not quite that important that in Barcelona we have a Castor cluster. There's a nice abstraction that it doesn't matter what content store we are using. It could just as well be S3 in a local availability zone. So what happens if a user in Boston asks content to Alfresco? It will be redirected to the Boston proxy. But the Boston proxy doesn't have the file yet because it's a lazy synchronization and it's the first time. The Boston proxy will ask it to the Barcelona proxy, the file will get it, store it in the local content store, and then send it back to the user.
Okay, so before we go to security, we go to a demo time.
Well, in this demo, we have almost the same setup. At our offices in Leuven, we have a local CASTO cluster called Patagonia with 3 nodes and the content proxy. And Boriss has on his PC here a local content proxy in Barcelona then. And he will demonstrate that it surely has a benefit.
Yep. So, I will need my browser now, here. So we have a connection to our offices in Brussels and Leuven through SSH tunneling. So that's why I can access this through this IP. As I said, I'm going to show you this on the Alfresco Explorer because this is the one that is using the download content servlet. And I have here in this site called Xenit some documents already uploaded. What I'm going to do here is taking this file, for instance. I'm going to take the download link here. I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to open a tab. I'm going to copy it here. So you will see this, this link is just the URL of the server. Then you have the Alfresco, the D for the download servlet, and then the node ID, workspace, space store, and the unique ID, and the name of the file. So it's just a regular thing of working with the download servlet of Alfresco. So I hit the button. I get a redirect, and I get it directly from my content proxy. So if we look at the URL now, it says content proxy port 1666, and then you get exactly the same URL for the content URL, which is stored on the Alfresco database. So this is how we can talk to the proxy and get the stuff directly from the content store. Okay, so this is the unique identifier, and what I'm having here is the content proxy interface, which just for demo purposes, going to upload it. It has a mapping of what is being already requested, and this image, you see that the requests are going to be increased every time that I ask for it. So of course I had this one already here, so you see I have 4 items, so that's why I got the image very fast, although the server is and the CASTO node are sitting in Leuven. So I have this PDF file here, which is my presentation. I just uploaded now before coming here. I'm going to take here the link location. No, that's image location, sorry. Copy link location. I'm going to my terminal here. Yeah, so first, I don't have anything on this folder. I'm going to do a time. You can read it? Yes. So I have my ticket here for the session. Yeah, so you see there's a ticket here. I'm going to change the URL now for what I just copied because this was a previous test. What I'm saying here is I want to measure the time of doing a curl call to download the things following redirects with the -L. That's the URL I just copied. And I'm going to put it in the file talk.pdf. Okay? It starts, I think I got an old one. I'm going to upload a new file. Let me see. Add content. Browse. Going to upload the ODP file, which is 2.7 megabytes. So it takes a while to send this stuff to Leuven, so it's not just automatic. Okay, I say, don't want to modify any metadata, just want to upload it. And it's there, okay. Now I'm going to copy the link. I'm going to type everything again. Type time curl in L, the URL, just copy, no, not that one. Now, ticket equals, I'm going to get my ticket here for the session. Where's my ticket? Here. Copy the ticket for the session. Yeah, it's true. Refresh. Yeah, that's the ticket. Thanks, Tom. I copy my ticket, and then I say put it on new talk.odp, and it starts downloading. So you see, it takes a while, because further, if my colleague, which is sitting there in our offices in Hungary, this is the name of the building, is in Leuven, he will just get it very quickly. He's alone there. We just leave him there, so the electricity was working, the network was working, so he will light everything up when. So it took 23 seconds, okay? And I'm going to show you in this stuff that a new item is being added. So I have 5 now here on my content proxy, and it's being requested only once, okay? So remember that number. No, you don't have to remember that number. I'm going to just do exactly the same thing again. I'm just repeating the same command. Hit enter, and it only took me 0.2 milliseconds. I should have done a different name, sorry. Yeah, again. It's exactly the same size, 2.7 megabytes, so I'm not cheating. And I'm going to reload this thing. And if you did remember that number, it's now counted 3. So you see, location awareness has its benefits. It's I mean, quite a difference. I mean, from 23 seconds or something that took in the beginning to 0.2. Yeah, there you go. That's the first time we did it. That's the second time we did it. Okay, so I hope you like it. Next one. Now, let's back to the presentation. This is a nasty issue, security. So now that we have these gray boxes, we are going to abstract everything which is behind the content proxies. What it matters now is that if somebody gets this redirect to this content proxy, he can get it. First, you need to do some kind of certification to say this is a trusted content proxy, so you don't get it from some fake proxy that is just going to give you music from Justin Bieber or somebody else instead of what you really want to get. But the second guy, which if you look, I mean, this one is a little bit blue and this one is black, so they probably know each other. They can send each other this redirection link. So this one could also get it without going through Alfresco. So this might not be an authenticated user, which is bad. So independent of the Alfresco server, he could just get his content. Not good. So in this situation, it is okay to email a download link, as you all the time do. Here, get my file. You can get it if you are authenticated and authorized. But it's not okay to email a redirection link. The way to solve this is to use something that's called one-shot links. So the first time you use it, it works. The second time you use it, it doesn't work. So now it is okay to email a download link, and if you email a redirection link, it's just not going to work. So we are already, at least with that part, is fine. But there is a lot more of security, so that's why, luckily, we did a submission to IWT, which means Agentschap voor blah, 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 in Dutch. It's actually an agency for innovation in science and technology. So we are going to continue researching on this. It's just a starting point for doing some more fancy stuff. And if you want to know more about it, ask Richard and Jeff to accept the request for the talk next year and submit. So you say, oh, we think that this is a neat idea. We think this is completely wrong, and we want to present it. But if you put the two presentations together, we can really have a nice discussion. So if you want to know more about it, ask Richard and Jeff. Okay? So I'm going to summarize the presentation now. Location awareness is about getting your content almost as fast as the guy which is close to the Alfresco server. This is one of the possible things that you can do. Very nice with Castor. As we did just in the demo, we have one Castor server over there. But if you don't remember this stuff, you can always remember the gorilla and the two monkeys. You say, oh, yeah, there was this thing about the gorillas and the monkeys and the chocolate that were better distributed when the guys were located in a good position. So put your content to work, and because I'm coming from South America, I put some more that put your condor to work, so your condor and the Andes with the snow and the sun. It gives more a different spirit. So I think I still have some 5 minutes to do some rock and roll stuff. So let me introduce you to the band. There's not much asked for you, except you clap your hands when I say the names of the members of the band. So Chocolate Monkey, Alpha, Proxy, stand up. He is also the lucky guy who won yesterday the ticket for Barcelona and the camera. Stan Miner. Chocolate Monkey, Proxy, Beta. He also gave a nice presentation yesterday about dynamic extension in OSGI. Laurent van der Linde. My Castor friend here, Thijs Lemmens. Very good developer from Xenit Solutions. And all the rest of the team that have been helping us a lot. I have all the credits here. Ton Hens, Ronnie Timmermans, Roxana Angeluta, and all. Thanks to everybody for following this nice presentation that we prepare as a team. So if you have questions, please raise your hand and ask for the microphone to either me or Gloria. Twen, you have a question?
Yes.
Ah, that's good. Where's my towel? Are you? Here's my towel.
Yes, it's not towel. It's about the synchronization between the two Alfrescos or many repositories. Why not using the replication service instead of something else? What's wrong with it, or what the benefits?
What do you need to install the replication service?
I don't know. For me, the replication service is to replicate the contents between two or more.
But what do you need as a service to? Because somebody told me, okay, you could also put another Alfresco at the other side, but then you need to synchronize all the databases as well, and then you have an issue. I mean, I could put a database here which is synchronized with the database in Leuven, and then get all that things done. So I don't know how. What is it? Philippe, you want to?
Replication. So your question was why not to use the replication service? Yeah. Okay. Well, first it's a replicating content store. It's not really a service, and you basically have to configure it with Spring. Okay, and basically yes, it could probably work. Yeah.
Well, one good thing here is that it is transparent to the user in the sense that it's talking to the same Alfresco service and is going to be redirected to the closest content proxy. So yeah, I mean, I haven't been. Do you know something, Ton, about the?
I'm not talking about the proxying and redirection. That's something else for me. It's too late. I'm not talking about the redirections, which something is really good with the proxies. But for the content itself, Alfresco has a replication service built in. I never use it, so I don't know how good is it or not. And it looks like something parallel. Yeah, maybe I'm completely mistaken.
Tony is going to answer your question.
So you're talking about a replication content store, which is saving its data to multiple content stores, right? So then you have to configure this in Alfresco, and Alfresco has to push the data to both content stores. Now, what if you open a new office somewhere else? It doesn't have the content like before, and it's a lot less flexible, and Alfresco is the one responsible to do the replication. If we use this, Alfresco is left out of the replication job, so it gets easier to manage. Does it help?
That's a good answer. I think.
Thank you. I start to understand the problem.
Okay. Somebody else has a question or a disagreement? Oliver? Yeah. Gloria, please. Thanks.
My question is about what of these components can be achieved. Okay. Yeah, thank you for your presentation. It's very funny. My question is about what of these components can be used, or what can you achieve in using open source, or what of these things need to do some extra work or being commercial?
Okay, so what you will need to do is, maybe I can use, this supernormal scheme. So, independent of what you are using here, what you will need to do to implement it is to know how to read a content URL that comes from your Alfresco, and then have a way to talk to your physical content store. In this case, it's HTTP between these two. So the APIs are also public. So you could have this as a component, and you say, this is it's actually, it's not a master and slave proxy, it's a master and dude, because this one is not depending on this one. He's just helping the distribution of content. So this one will be the CASTO master component, because it's known that if it gets a request, it gets it immediately from here, and it's going to send it back, and that's its own its only task. This one is a file system, because it's talking directly to the disk. So the only thing that needs to know is how to read files from the disk to get the content. But it also needs to know who is his master, and he doesn't need to know either how to get the content URL. He just needs to send that content URL when he doesn't find it in his mapping system. If he doesn't find it here, he just needs to resend the request. So this will be another component called the file system dude. Yeah. So this, if you have an S3 here, then you have to have your other component which talks to S3, and then you could start having independent proxies, and then you would just say, okay, this is a dude, this is a master, and you need to tell every dude who is his master. That would be the way of building components and replicating them, reusing them, sorry. Yeah, is what you ask, or? Okay, good. But we can carry on the discussion on the break. Okay, any other questions? I think we have time. No more questions? Okay, so if you want to discuss in the coffee break, or if you want chocolate, I still have some more chocolates here. So thank you very much. That's it.